All right, the Utah Jazz get a really nice win against the Toronto Raptors. This the Hoops Nerd postgame show. Guys, that was a win that I did not expect because this Raptors team is well coached. They play hard. They have athletes and just smart, good players all over the floor. Before the game, you saw that Kyle Lowry wasn't going to play, so that made this much more winnable for the Jazz. I'm even without Kyle Lowry, this team has really nice players. Before we talk about the Jazz, let's talk about the Raptors. Uh, I honestly, the Toronto Raptors outside of the Jazz are one of my top five favorite teams to root for. I mean, that championship run for the Raptors was an all-time fun run. It was the team that just does not get enough attention, does not get enough credit, going all the way and winning the game. And I know, they miss Kawhi Leonard now, but this team is the same not the same team. I mean, you're missing Mark Gasol, you're missing who is the Ibaka, who have moved on, but they're still doing nice things. They've missed out on a lot of players. They're playing in Tampa, all these different things that have really just kind of like played against them this season, and they still manage to be a solid basketball team. I mean, honestly, this is the team that I really feel the worst for in terms of just like playing through the pandemic of anyone, because they're just at a complete disadvantage every single game. I mean, honestly, the Toronto Raptors haven't had a home game the entire season. So for them to do what they've done this season is pretty impressive. I mean, honestly, think about that. They've been basically on the road the whole year. It's pretty wild, So it's really tough to win, have a really, elite record when your entire season is on the road. It's crazy. But honestly, there's so many players on this team I love. Fred VanVleet is just an absolute beast. I love that guy. That guy is a major, everyone will talk about Kawhi Leonard and winning the finals because of Kawhi Leonard, but you know who else who helped them win the finals was Fred VanVleet, hitting an insane amount of shots. I mean, people don't talk enough about that playoff run. It's basically been forgotten, but VanVleet during that playoff run was out of his mind. Unbelievable. He was so good. And so gotta love Fred VanVleet. He's fantastic. I just, not enough good things I can say about VanVleet. And he was doing incredible in this game tonight too. I mean, he was one of those guys that you're like, okay, this guy's gonna beat the Jazz tonight, and that that would be very painful, but he did not. Luckily, the Jazz got some nice performances from a few of their guys that got this win. The other guy that I love on the Toronto Raptors, and there's a lot of things I'd be willing to do, nefarious, lots of things I'd do to get OG Anunoby on the Utah Jazz. That guy is an absolute, just everything about that guy is fantastic. He guards multiple positions. He's really an all defensive player every single season at this point. He goes 7 for 17 from the field, 3 for 9 from three, but I'm not off the top of my head, I don't know his 3-point percentage is, but I believe he shoots it well. Let me know, Raptors fans, how he's shooting it. But the guy just does a lot of different things. 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks. He's just a beast. I love that guy. 17 points for Anunoby. That guy does just some really nice things for you. And the other guy, that you got to talk about is Pascal Siakam, who, is not having the greatest season. But he still puts up numbers across the board. And it's interesting that he, in a game that the Raptors lost, he was an even plus minus. So he shoots 7 for 18 from the field. Not great, but, not horrific. But 7 rebounds, 3 steals. He's just a nice defensive presence. And that's one thing that this Raptors team has going for it. You've just got like Anunoby, Siakam. You've got guys on the floor that have length and can do nice things. The other guy that was looking really nice tonight for them was Khem Birch. He has that little floater shot in the lane, kind of like on the Kings. Who is it on the Kings? I forgot his name. But that little push shot that just goes seems to just fall every single time. And that's the shot you got to have if you're going to play against Rudy Gobert. Robert Hall, Bogey, God of Thunder. Yes, we shall talk about Bogdanovic. Thank you for the $2. I really appreciate it, Robert. That's great. But yeah, so this Raptors team has some nice things. And, Raptors fans, it's been a rough year for you guys, pandemic-wise, not having your team in Toronto. That sucks. And just having the team on the road the whole year, it's just crazy. But anyways, you've got some nice pieces, and we'll see what happens with them next year. You've got one of the best GMs in the league, so maybe you can pull something off. But Kem Birch is already looking like a nice pickup. That guy can shoot the three. He hits nice shots, and he plays hard. He does some nice things, and he's more athletic than you'd think. Let's talk about the Utah Jazz. People will mention Trent Forrest, and we should, because he had a nice game. But the reason the Jazz won this game is Bojan Bogdanovic is back, like Robert Hall said. Bojan Bogdanovic he's back. He's struggled this season multiple times, and you've all heard me talk about it. He has had big struggles this year. We've talked about it multiple times on this channel. You guys know that I've said not nice things about Bojan, but guess what? We're going to say lots of good things tonight, and lots of good things from last game and multiple games before. Bojan Bogdanovic has been the number one option for the Jazz in these games where Donovan Mitchell and I had my leg under my other leg, and I'm too fat, and it hurts my legs. Bojan Bogdanovic has been the number one option for this Jazz team, with Mike Conley and Donovan Mitchell being out with injury. And he's been nothing but incredible. Tonight, that three was just falling, and he was taking the three like he was last year before the injury, where he's making a high percentage of them, and you feel like if it doesn't go in, you're surprised. Bojan Bogdanovic hitting threes like a madman. But it's not just the threes, it's the post play, where you're able to give the ball to Bojan in the post. And there was a play that got me really excited, guys. Really excited. It's a playoff type play. Bojan gets the ball in the post, and he's got a mouse in the house, like Thurl Bailey says, where you've got a smaller defender on him. That's a bucket. Bojan Bogdanovic is one of the most efficient post players in the game right now. He just is. He scores at a high level. And how that's happening is that Bojan is like the third option when Donovan Mitchell and Mike Conley are on the floor. And what that means is you've got probably a third defender on him, which at times is a guy you're trying to hide. So if you're the Clippers and you've got Kawhi Leonard on Donovan Mitchell and Paul George on Mike Conley, that means your third guy is on Bojan. And maybe that's like a Pat Beverly who's not very big. And guess what? Bojan's 6'8", and he can turn around and shoot that ball and bury it. And that's what he was doing. And tonight, this play I'm talking about, I can't remember. I think it was Malachi Flynn was on Bogdanovic. So the Raptors send another guy to get him. Bojan sees over his shoulder that Rudy's open, makes the pass, Rudy dunk. That's the type of thing to get excited about for this Jazz offense in the playoffs, because you are going to have Donovan Mitchell back and Mike Conley back. And that means you're going to have Bojan Bogdanovic having mismatches in the post. And that's huge in the playoffs, because in the playoffs, we'd love to see the blender. We'd love to see the ball moving around like you want to, but in the playoffs, that just doesn't happen, because you've got good elite teams with elite defenses guarding against that. But guess what? If you have a third defender on Bojan, not every team has like 3 or 4 elite wing defenders. And so Bojan can do stuff like that. So if you have Bojan making good decisions, and he sometimes makes bonehead plays, he had 1 or 2 this game. He's not going to be perfect. Not everyone's perfect. Get religion. You'll find out about that. But guess what? Bojan can make really nice plays in the post, and it's exciting. But what's more exciting is that three-point shot is falling, guys. The three-point shot is falling. Bojan Bogdanovic tonight took 11 threes and made 6 of them. That's what you want to see. It's what you want to see. If Bojan is doing that, it's changing the game for Utah. It's absolutely changing things for them. It's what you want to see every night. If he can take 10 threes every single game and make 4 or 5 of them, whatever it is, that is so massive. Because when Donovan Mitchell and Mike Conley come back, it not only spreads the floor for them, but it means that Bojan is going to take more and more of those and make them, because he is going to get open shots when the 2 guards are back. It's just going to happen, Or when Joe Ingles is with the 6th man, setting him up for threes when he's driving the ball or getting the pick and roll. It's fantastic. Bojan Bogdanovic is the story of this game. The other guy that looked like he looked a little better at the beginning, and then really tapered off again. For some reason, those percentages for Clarkson, he's just struggling, but he had 15 points on 18 shots tonight. He was 1 for 6 from 3. That 3-point shot for Clarkson is the thing that we as Jazz fans need to watch for, because when that 3-point shot is falling, it changes everything. But the 3-point shot for Clarkson was not there, and that's why the percentages weren't there, because I actually felt like he played pretty decent. He had that monster dunk. It was unbelievable, and hopefully he does more of that, because that was fantastic. Amazing. But what needs to happen for Jordan Clarkson is that 3-point shot, and for some reason it's not falling, and I don't know if it's the ankle or what. But man, if he needs some rest, then the Jazz need to give him some rest, because it felt like when he took 3 or 4 games off, that ankle got a little bit better, and he looked a little bit better and fresher when he came back. So I don't know if this condensed season is affecting Clarkson. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what it is. Rudy Gobert, I felt like Rudy struggled in this game a little bit through the first half and some of the third quarter, and then the fourth quarter he was a monster, along with all the other Jazz players who decided to kind of lock down in the fourth quarter. Really, it was that defense in the fourth that saved things. By the way, Trent Forrest had a couple nice moments tonight. He had a couple blocks, really nice little defensive possessions that were big. You know, this was a close game, so you got to give props to Trent Forrest. I've not been very nice to Trent Forrest, so apologies, I guess. But he had some nice moments tonight. Does it mean that we should keep playing Trent Forrest? I don't know. I don't think so. But he's going to keep playing. And if he can make nice plays like he did tonight, maybe that can give him some confidence to make some more. But he had nice defensive possessions. He had a nice lob to Favors. I think he made 2 threes tonight. Let's just check. Trent Forrest from 3. No, he had 1 3, but it was a big 3. You know, and I guess you'll take it if he can. The shot looks ugly, but if it goes in, then who cares? He's not a shooter, that's for sure. But he can handle the ball, and that's why it seems like Quinn has him in the game. And he can pass, and so I guess that's good enough when you're playing against the Raptors. If you're playing against someone better like the Suns, we saw how that went. So I don't know, but shout out to Trent Forrest, who had a nice game tonight, and if he can have more nice games, then that's great. That's all you can ask for. Derek Favors continues to kind of struggle, but tonight he was a +8, which is interesting to me. I wouldn't have expected that if you'd have asked me before the game that who would have a better plus-minus between Rudy Gobert and Derek Favors. I would not have guessed Favors. Favors was a +8, and Rudy was a -4. That's kind of bizarre, but I felt like Rudy Gobert had a really great night, and I didn't feel like Derek affected things as much as you would like. But hey, +8, you'll take it. And some of that comes from, Joe Ingles and I don't know. It's actually kind of bizarre. Joe Ingles finally had a nice night from the starting lineup. 9 assists. He shot 4 for 8 from the field and 4 for 7 from 3. That was the type of night we've seen from Joe that has given the Jazz such a big record when Mike Conley has sat in the games. And so it's nice to see Joe Ingles have a nice night. That was a big reason the Jazz won this game. The Splash Uncles came through for the Jazz. Joe Ingles and Bojan Bogdanovic were hitting threes. Between the two, you have 10 for 18 from 3, and that's going to win you the game. Big time stuff. George Niang didn't play a lot. 23 minutes. Quinn didn't have him playing, and maybe it's just because his shot wasn't falling, but he was only 1 for 5 from 3, which is interesting. Only 3 points from George. So George has been our most consistent 3-point shooter lately. Tonight, it was not there. So that's interesting. You know who I'm really enjoying watching? And I think he had and this is actually, okay. We just figured it out. Guys, shout out to the Hoops Nerd channel for figuring this out. This is why we had the +8. And his name is Ersan Ilyasova. Ersan played 9 minutes and was a +4. But what I really liked about Ersan on the floor was not necessarily the shooting, which he did hit a shot tonight. Ersan shot 1 for 4 from 3, but that 1 3 where he was open, you just kind of felt like it was going in, and it was nice. But Ersan provides size from the 4 spot and rebounding and a little bit of defense. He had a transition play where he actually blocked a shot, and he had some I don't even know what his rebounds were, but it felt like his presence on the floor got some rebounds. He had 2 rebounds tonight in 9 minutes. But hey, I'll take it. But what's nice about Ersan on the floor, especially if he's playing off of Favors, is you have size. You have size. So Derek's struggled this year. I don't think anyone would disagree with that. It's just been, I mean, Derek's had some nice games this year, but overall, it feels like Derek has really struggled. But when you put Ersan on the floor, all of a sudden you've got a big backcourt where you've got 6'10 Ersan Ilyasova and 6'10 Favors, and that can be really effective against second units because that's just size, you know? And the fact that Ersan can shoot the three and provide spacing while providing that size and defense, that's a big deal. And that can help out when Derek Favors is struggling, you know? It can really help. And tonight I think that was a big deal. I think Ersan Ilyasova is honestly a massive pickup for the Jazz. A massive pickup. So really nice for Utah to have that option. I don't know when. Look, let's see. Is there a time? Elijah Bard, is there a timeline on Mitchell's return? So we found out today that it's going to be another week until we find out. It might be another. Who knows? Utah's going to be very careful. I can tell you that because we saw what happened with Jamal Murray. So, and I don't want to I don't want to jinx anything or be cryptic or anything like that. But Jamal Murray tore his ACL this year. And part of what happened with Jamal Murray is Jamal Murray was playing partly injured. And there's been so many times where we've seen that, where a player is playing with kind of a bum ankle or kind of ailing a little bit. And this actually makes me worried a little bit about Clarkson because apparently he has been playing on a injured ankle at times this season. But Jamal Murray was playing through kind of a leg injury. And what happens when you're doing that is you kind of favor the other leg and you're putting your body at risk. And that's kind of what happened to Jamal Murray is he was using that other leg. And then all of a sudden that leg buckles and you're putting too much force on a leg that you don't normally do. And you see an injury. And so, I want to see Donovan Mitchell back. But I would much rather see Donovan Mitchell at 100% where he's not playing hurt so that in the playoffs you have Donovan Mitchell and you're also not injuring Donovan Mitchell long term. It just makes sense to help him sit. And I know we'd love to have the number 1 seed and those Suns losses sucked. The same goes for Mike Conley. If Mike Conley's playing and ailing with a hamstring, you don't want that injury to get, even more severe because you need Mike Conley to win playoff. The Jazz need Mike Conley and Donovan Mitchell to win. And we've seen that when they play the Suns. Furby Jr., thank you, my friend. $2. BB44 won this game. Gave me heart attack. Game gave me heart attack. It did me too. I did not think the Jazz were going to win this game, by the way. I thought this was a loss. When Kyle Lowry sit, then it was a much closer thing. But having Bojan Bogdanovic shoot like that is going... I mean, and I might do a video about this, guys, but maybe Bojan Bogdanovic is Cinderella man for the Jazz. Because guess what? Mike Conley and Donovan Mitchell sit, and Bojan Bogdanovic is asked to, kind of go above and beyond, and he's answered the call. And so now you've got Bojan playing like this as the main guy. What happens when Donovan Mitchell and Mike Conley return? Do you get Super Bojan because he's crushing weaker opponents? That's what gets me excited. Vincent Leos, $1.99. Thank you, Vincent. I'll pick Ersan over Derek any day. Actually, Vincent, I talked about this. Thank you. Good. Thanks for the donation and good comment, Vincent. One thing I was thinking about, since Derek has struggled, and I wouldn't mind giving Derek some rest, is why not play Ersan at the 5? Why? Why, James? Why would you do that? Here, let me answer for you. If you have Trent Forrest on the floor and Derek Favors, you have 2 non-3-point shooters, which makes things easier on the defense. It means that they don't have to guard the 3 on 2 players. If you have Ersan Ilyasova on the floor with Trent Forrest, we know that Trent Forrest is not a 3-point threat. He's not. He made one tonight, but he's not someone that playoff team is going to guard. He's not going to play in the playoffs whatsoever. He shouldn't be. If Trent Forrest is playing in the playoffs, something terrible happened. But what happens is if you have Ersan Ilyasova at the 5, that means if you have 4 shooters on the floor. So maybe you have Trent Forrest, who maybe they can lay off of, but because Trent Forrest is the ball handler, He still has to be guarded. And if you have Ersan Ilyasova setting screens, he can pop out, and that opens up lanes for Trent Forrest. I would love to see Ersan Ilyasova play the 5. Also, we know that Ersan plays really hard. Really hard. You know? And I just, the Jazz have been so good offensively this year when they have 4 shooters on the floor. With those 4 shooters on the floor, it changes things. But when Derek's on the floor and he's kind of a slower version of what he normally is, you don't have to guard the 3. And I know that he's playing the pick and roll, but you have guys dropping on both Derek and Trent Forrest. And it's just hard to run a pick and roll when everyone can just drop. It makes it hard. But if you have Ersan Ilyasova who can do a pick and do an old Mehmet Okur pop out, pick and pop pick and roll instead of a pick and roll, it changes things. And Ersan can shoot the ball, and he's not like a lethal shooter, but he's a 36% three-point shooter. He can make a 3 and it spreads the floor. And they have to respect it, That's the thing, is everyone knows that Ersan can shoot. He's been in the league long enough that everyone knows who he is and what he can do. And so I would like to see Quinn do that. He will not do that because Quinn is the most stubborn coach in the NBA. No questions asked. I don't care who it is. He's the most stubborn coach in the league. He absolutely is. He is so stubborn. He goes down with the ship in the playoffs. So nothing's going to change. Whether you like it or not, he's going to play Tony Bradley at backup center. Whether you like it or not, Juwan Morgan is not getting on the floor against the Denver Nuggets in a Game 7. It does not matter. It does not matter. Tony Bradley, regardless of how it's going to go, that's what's going to happen. Anyways, it's something I'd like to see. Maybe Quinn will do it eventually. Maybe. Probably not. Guys, that's all I got to say tonight. I don't think I'm missing anything. That was the game to me as I saw it. And so make sure, if you're new to the channel and you're a Jazz fan or a Raptors fan, like and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to join and be a part of the live chat, join the rookie tier and join the channel. It's a button right there. Let's give a shout out to our all-stars. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I almost ruined. Oh, that was crazy. Is everyone still there? Is everyone still there? I think I ruined the... Oh, man. Okay, I think we're good. That was crazy. I hit the back button. I think we're still good. If we're still good, let me know. Okay, great. That freaked me out. Sorry. All right, let's give a shout out to our all-stars. JT Wartell, Buckets JT. Austin R. Grant, thank you, sir. Eric C. Kelsey Hamer, the Hammer. Donald Schooley, Cody Strickland, Mitt Robach, DW to CB, Darren Williams to Carlos Boozer, Jorge Arizaga, mi amigo Lee Christensen, Shan Therick, Ryan Perry, the legend, Justin Ty H, Patrick Akubo, my buddy, Robert Hall, my friend from Twitter, and DW, Jazz going all the way. Guys, like and subscribe to the channel. That was weird. I messed up the flow of the channel, but that's because I hit the back button on this mouse right here, and it went back, and then I thought the stream was over. Jordan Crabtree. Sir, thank you so much. Good reaction video. Keep the energy up. Jordan, you can bet I'm going to bring this because of you, Jordan. That's right. Bring the energy every game. It's a little harder when the Jazz lose because my feelings are hurt and I'm sad. But guess what? On a nice win like tonight, you can bet I'm going to bring it. And guess what, guys? Join the Instagram. Join my Instagram. I'm going to start trying to do more with that. No, I'm not going to try. I am. I'm going to bring the Instagram back. And guess what? This channel is going to grow because we're not going to just do live streams. We're going to continue the live streams, but we're going to be doing more produced pieces. And there are going to be things that I've put a lot of work into. This thing is going to grow. And guess what? It'll be Jazz focused, but it's going to be NBA as well. This channel is going through the roof, and you guys are all going with me, all right? All of you. Robert Hall, Instagram handle. It's in the, if you can look in the handle of the YouTube page, you can click on the Instagram link. Hoops Nerd. It's hoops__nerd. I know. I might have to change that because that's not very easy to remember. But that's what it is. Hoops__nerd. And you know what? I might start needing to put that into my descriptions. I'll just go like this and say, and you know what? There's some things I probably should just do to make that easier on myself. But I'm still learning about this. I've been doing YouTube for years and years now, guys. I'm still learning. Anyways, guys, like and subscribe to the channel. Join the channel if you haven't already. Thank you again, Jordan Crabtree. You're amazing. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Guys, I will talk to you next time.